Guys, I'm worried about the future of Kobbie Mainoo. When Kobbie Mainoo first came through at Manchester United, he brought a lot of hope and optimism to what was a dire time under Ten Hag. From impressing on his debut performance with a goal line clearance, to scoring the match-winning goal against Manchester City in the FA Cup final. The man's goal catalogue speaks for itself. He's produced so many moments that have got us off our seats. The last-minute winner at Wolves, the comeback goal against Lyon. And the reason I think these moments resonate so much more in fans' heads is because they came at a time where we didn't have a lot to celebrate. The last 2 years have definitely not been easy. We've had to sit through the most boring football you'll ever see, while at the same time be subjected to endless Onana mistakes and Dalot disaster classes. We also had Garnacho who created moments of brilliance, but the difference with him and Mainoo is that most fans were happy when Garnacho left the club. Whereas with Mainoo it's different, nobody wants to see him go. But despite the fans, manager and Mainoo himself not wanting to leave Manchester United permanently, I'm afraid the writing is on the wall for Kobbie Mainoo. We're now in a position where a golden talent of the academy could very well be on the verge of leaving Manchester United. When Amorim first came in, there weren't any questions over Mainoo's future at the club. Kobbie Mainoo has no concerns over his Manchester United future. He feels valued by the club. However, after months of limited game time, reports began to ring out. Sources close to Kobbie Mainoo claim he wants to stay at Manchester United, but he has reservations about his role in Amorim's system. Mainoo then went on to have a decent pre-season with an impressive display against West Ham. Amorim gave him his credit, saying he liked Kobbie Mainoo's game, but despite the compliment, Mainoo has still struggled to get game time. This led to a private meeting before the end of the summer transfer window. Kobbie Mainoo, his agent, Ruben Amorim, and Manchester United's directors sat down to make a final decision on his future. Now, I imagine in this private meeting, Amorim was honest and told Mainoo that his role at United this season would be competition for Fernandez's position, because it wasn't long after that David Ornstein broke the news. Kobbie Mainoo has now informed Manchester United of wish to leave on loan before the transfer deadline. Obviously, as we all know, Kobbie's wish wasn't granted and he has been forced to stay at Manchester United this season. But how have things changed since then? Well, Kobbie Mainoo currently has no intention on renewing his contract given his playing opportunities under Ruben Amorim. His willingness to leave was initially thought to be a bargaining position by many at the club, but it has become a possibility. If not this summer, then in a future window. Which isn't exactly ideal and what you would want from a player who many see as a generational talent, including Roy Keane and Paul Scholes, who have been very complimentary to Mainoo, saying, "I played him at position, but he's doing stuff that probably took me 10 years to learn. Don't waste your time with comparison between us. He is 10 times the player I was at 19. Now, are we in immediate danger of Mainoo pushing his way out of the club for a permanent move? I don't think so. Mainoo's contract is valid until June 2027, and we have an additional 1-year option. He's only on £25,000 a week, so he's not exactly breaking the bank. It looks as though he's not throwing the towel in either. Kobbie Mainoo is trying his best, working hard, and creating no problems at United. Ruben Amorim wants him to stay, but his story could pick up again if he's not playing, as several clubs from England, Spain, and Italy are interested in Mainoo on loan. After all, he is a United fan who has come through the academy. I wouldn't expect him to kick up a fuss. Amorim has been nothing but complimentary towards him as well. This is what he had to say on Kobbie a couple of weeks ago. "I believe a lot in Kobbie, but some of you think that he has already done the finished article. I think he can do so much better. He can improve a lot. For some guys, it's talent is enough, but for him, it's not enough. Maybe it's not fair, but I think I'm helping Kobbie. He will have opportunities like the other guys." However, if Amorim didn't believe in Kobbie, he would ship him out of the door just like he did with Garnacho. He clearly sees the ability there. He's just trying to bring it out of Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo is being put through intense training sessions by Ruben Amorim. Kobbie is pushing hard for the number 6 role alongside Bruno Fernandes, while Mainoo clearly isn't going to contribute to a toxic atmosphere at his boyhood club. But it does look as though he will continue being disappointed. He's requested to go on loan twice, being denied both times. He's training harder than he ever has, and he's still not getting game time. This puts Kobbie in a difficult position because he wants to play for England in the World Cup, and he's going to have to prove himself to Tuchel. But if he doesn't play, how will he do that? He clearly wants to stay at Manchester United for the long term, which is why we sympathise with Mainoo. We know he's a talented player. We know he's not afraid to work hard. We know he loves the club. But the truth is, he's not our best option in midfield right now. The Nottingham Forest game only solidified that. Casemiro picking up another goal and Fernandes picking up an assist. Both of them becoming impossible to ignore. Looking at Kobbie Mainoo's performances this season, he's not really even challenged them. His first game of the season, he featured in a disastrous game against Grimsby Town, and despite not being at fault for the result, he paid the price for that result. Being knocked out of the Carabao Cup so early wasn't just embarrassing, but hindered a lot of players because of the reduced game time. Xerxes, another who's knocking on Amorim's door for a loan move because of the lack of playing time. And despite picking up an assist in the Grimsby game, Kobbie hasn't looked himself all season. Despite posting endless training photos since the start of the season, just from looking at Mainoo, he looks slower than he once was. He looks off the pace. Now that could be because he hasn't had a lot of game time, so he's not match fit, or it could be the painful truth that maybe Mainoo has not physically but mentally checked out of Manchester United. But I find that hard to believe. Following the Grimsby game, Mainoo hasn't started a match for United and only played 138 minutes. In those minutes, he hasn't impressed. He didn't even get any minutes at Forest. This puts Amorim in a hard position as well. We're aiming for a top 5 place in an extremely competitive league this season. Anyone can beat anyone. He needs momentum. Amorim spoke about the importance of getting European football and the impact it could have on Mainoo. We need to go to Europe because of everything. Imagine for me to have Kobbie Mainoo with the minutes that he's playing. He needs more games for me to make a rotation. Because with one game, it's really hard. I have to take out one of the guys that is playing to put in another. When you have more games, you can divide, you can manage the group in a different way. Unfortunately for Amorim, he doesn't have the luxury of playing players unless we're in a comfortable winning position. Although even against Brighton, when we had that winning position, we almost bottled a 3-0 lead at home when the substitutes came on. The harsh truth is that Amorim's not going to put Casemiro and Fernandes aside, costing us points in the process just so he can keep a talented 20-year-old who has the potential to develop into a generational player happy. So where does this leave Amorim in this Mainoo situation? I only see one option. You have to let Mainoo leave on loan. If you don't want to destroy the player's relationship with the club, he has to be allowed to leave. If we were to loan him out, he would gain experience at another club, play in the World Cup, and come back to United rejuvenated after the summer. Happy they listened to his wishes. At the moment, Mainoo's been civil. He's continued to act professionally despite not getting his loan move in the summer. But if he misses out on representing his country at the World Cup, and Amorim or the board are responsible for that, he will hold it against United. He showed his intent in the summer. He requested a loan move because he obviously still sees a long-term future with the club. But if the management don't cooperate, that long-term future could go up in smoke. The only negative to doing this is that our midfield is looking very weak, meaning we would most likely have to bring in a midfielder on loan. Who that midfielder should be? That's a question for another day. Let me know what you think about Kobbie Mainoo in the comments down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the home of Honestly Biased Sports content. But for now, Godspeed.